What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking our top 20 must-own players for the 2023 fantasy football season. Basically, these are the guys that we are targeting across all of our leagues, regardless of the format, because we believe they have league-winning upside. So make sure to tune in. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree? Who else would you put on this list along with any other questions? And we will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get into it. As you can see, we've got our list pulled up here. Now, a quick note, this is going to be all the way from the first round onwards, and it's going to include every single position: running back, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end. We've got you covered here. So with that being said, let's kick it off. The number one name on our list is Cooper Kupp of the LA Rams. Now, yes, he's technically injured right now, but it is a minor injury. The expectation for a while has been that he will be available come kickoff. And what that means is, in our eyes, that he's right there alongside Justin Jefferson. But because of the slight injury worries, he's been devalued a little bit. He is a middle to end of the first round selection. Guys like Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill are being drafted ahead of him. And the fact of the matter is, last year when Kupp and Matthew Stafford were healthy, he was right there alongside Justin Jefferson as the number one overall fantasy wide receiver and actually outpacing him. So here, we're projecting all of these guys to play a full season. That's how you have to do it when you look at projections, rankings, things of that nature. Now, yes, some guys are more injury prone than others, and you factor that into their risk profile. But fully healthy, Cooper Kupp, if you want to rank him right alongside Justin Jefferson, we have zero issue with that. And the fact that you can get him towards the latter part of the first round, to us, that screams absolute value. Now, at number two, we've got Nick Chubb, somebody that's going early second round. And for us, this has been one of our favorite players because of the exit of Kareem Hunt. We've said this before. We like the talent with Nick Chubb, but we were always a little bit hesitant to fully commit to him for fantasy purposes with Kareem Hunt there, vouchering pass-catching opportunities and red zone opportunities as well. That would not be the case anymore. We would not be shocked to see Nick Chubb lead the league in rushing attempts, yards, and or touchdowns. In fact, I see him as a younger, better version of Derrick Henry. And for all of you that have been drafting Derrick Henry the last few years when he's been healthy, that's worked out pretty well for you. I think that's what we're going to get here with Nick Chubb. Absolutely an RB1 regardless of the format. And with Deshaun Watson having another, offseason to get familiar with this offense, it's only going to help Cleveland. Good offensive line as well. Nick Chubb to the moon. At number three, we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. And Amon-Ra, all he's done since entering the league is absolutely produce. In his rookie season, we were touting him as one of these sleeper rookie wide receivers that absolutely panned out. We were on him last year. We're on him again this season. Amon-Ra is the top target for the Detroit Lions. He's the primary target for Jared Goff. It's a high-scoring offense. The Detroit Lions defense not quite there, so they throw the ball a bunch. Jameson Williams, the other kind of high-profile wide receiver here, going to be suspended for the first 6 games of the year. He's dealt with injuries, things like that. His arrow is not pointing up. I think, honestly, Amon-Ra St. Brown's main competition here is going to be rookies, guys like Sam LaPorta and Jahmyr Gibbs. Other than that, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the guy. We think he can absolutely challenge for a wide receiver one finish. He's being drafted. His ADP is going up a little bit, middle of the second round, but he's knocking on the door of a top 5 finish. At number 4, we've got Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets, and this has everything to do about the addition of Aaron Rodgers. Wilson showed us that he is very talented last season, and that was with very subpar play at the quarterback position with Zach Wilson. But now Aaron Rodgers, multi-time MVP, Hall of Fame bound. We still think he's got a lot left. In fact, we think he's going to bounce back this season. The Jets are in a much better situation than what the Packers were talent-wise last year. And Garrett Wilson is the number one guy here, again, going towards the middle end of the second round. We think he's going to have a breakout season in 2023. At number 5, we've got Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. This has everything to do with the value. And I get it. A lot of people are going to have issues with this because, is he going to sit out? What's he going to do? Contract negotiation issues. We don't want to get burnt by it. But right now, I think there's always a smart risk play, and that's what this is with Jonathan Taylor. Simply put, the running back position is not incentivized to sit out. They're going to lose too much money. They're going to lose eligibility. It just doesn't work that way. So Jonathan Taylor, in our eyes, is going to play the majority of the season. And his ADP doesn't reflect that because he's being drafted right now towards the end of the second round. When people weren't worrying about this, he was an early first round selection. That is a whole round and a half difference in ADP. Essentially, you're getting a top 5 running back at the end of the second round. To us, that is an absolute value and a risk we're worth, following. Next, Chris Olave of the New Orleans Saints at number 6. Olave is somebody that we have touted for a while. Our favorite third round selection. In fact, his ADP is going up a little bit, but regardless, we think he can absolutely be a wide receiver 1, especially in full PPR scoring. We think he's, a Keenan Allen type of guy, and especially with the upgraded quarterback to Derek Carr for the New Orleans Saints. We think that this entire offense is going to take a step forward. Much better situation than what they had with Dalton, Jameis Winston last year. So I think this entire offense takes a step forward. I think Olave is the number 1 wide receiver in New Orleans. Michael Thomas, he's really far removed from what he once was, injury prone as well. So Olave is somebody that we really like. Next, we've got Keenan Allen. And Keenan Allen for the Chargers, maybe he burnt you a little bit last year because he was injured, missed a lot of time. But what happened when he returned? When he returned, he paced the LA Chargers. He was a wide receiver 1, especially in full PPR scoring. And other than last year, look, Keenan Allen went on a nice little stretch of not being injured, of being available. And we think that, again, he's returning to a high-powered offense, big-time quarterback in Herbert. Yes, there are other targets there like Eckler, like Mike Williams, the addition of Quentin Johnston. But guess what? Those guys were still there last year. And when Keenan Allen returned, he was the number 1 dude. And right now, getting him in around the 4th round, we think that's an absolute steal. He continues to be perennially underrated, and just let the recency bias go. We think you take a chance on him, it will pay off. Next up, we've got Calvin Ridley of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Another guy that some people are split on, obviously coming off a year suspension due to gambling, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but we believe in the talent of Ridley. Only a few years ago, he was a top 5 wide receiver, and now he's got a great quarterback in Trevor Lawrence on a high-powered offense. Yes, Christian Kirk was the number 1 guy here last year, but the Jaguars paid up for Ridley, and we think that Ridley is going to be the number 1 guy here. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. He's being drafted around the 4th round. Huge upside. He's done it before. The talent is there. And we think he is going to return to Calvin Ridley of old. At number 9, we've got our first tight end. That is George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers. And with Kittle, look, yes, there were struggles at some points last year, but that's when Brock Purdy had not been inserted as the quarterback for the 49ers up until that point. Once Brock Purdy became the main guy, all of a sudden, George Kittle's usage started going up and up and up. The touchdown started going up and up. He became a big red zone threat. He became one of the safety blankets from Brock Purdy. There was a good connection there. And right now, Kittle being drafted behind guys like Mark Andrews, even Darren Waller as of late, we think that you were getting a pretty good discount on a proven commodity at the tight end position, and somebody that can finish as a top 3 guy. Yes, there are other targets there with McCaffrey, with Debo, with Ayuk, but all those guys were there last year, and Purdy was still looking to Kittle, so we really like the upside for him, especially at the tight end position. Next, we've got Marquise Brown of the Arizona Cardinals at number 10. We said it last year. Look, when DeAndre Hopkins isn't there, Marquise Brown is absolutely going to smash. That's exactly what happened. Now, no more DeAndre Hopkins. Marquise Brown is the number 1 guy offensively for the Cardinals. And yes, people are worried about the Kyler Murray injury. That's fair. But everything points to Kyler Murray being back sooner rather than later. And that is going to help Marquise Brown a bunch. He is a big volume play. And we think he's going to carry forward what we saw last year without DeAndre Hopkins into 2023. Next, number 11, we've got Alvin Kamara. Lower on this list than you might expect, but again, that's because the last few years he has disappointed. Now he's facing a 3-game suspension, but guess what? You're essentially getting an RB1 at the price of an RB3, at least in our opinion. Now, yes, there's been rumors about the Saints potentially adding someone, but that still hasn't happened. Until that happens, Alvin Kamara remains a very good value. And sure, the Saints added Jamal Williams, but Alvin Kamara has always had, a running mate. Look at Mark Ingram, something like that. He is the pass-catching wizard. And again, similar to what we said about Chris Olave, the upgrade at quarterback is going to be huge. Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, they were not friendly to Alvin Kamara's type of playing style, the way he was utilized before. We think Derek Carr will elevate him, and he's going to see a lot more pass-catching opportunities in general, a lot more good rushing opportunities as well. And again, getting him as somebody that you can put on your bench initially, but then kind of goes up to the ranks of a potential top 10 running back when he returns from suspension, that is an absolute steal. Next up, James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals. And with Conner, yes, he's been hurt here and there, but when he's been healthy, the guy's been an absolute stud. We saw it last year. We've seen it with the Steelers. And here, regardless whether Kyler Murray is there or not, James Conner is going to be a big part of this Arizona offense. I'm not worried about Kyler Murray taking away opportunities rushing-wise from Conner. He's coming back from a major injury, so I think he's going to be a little bit limited in that area. But outside of Marquise Brown, we really do believe James Conner is going to be the number 2 pass catcher on this offense. That is a huge, huge value at the running back position. We think he's going to have a pretty high floor, and getting him like in the 6th round, absolute steal. Next up, we've got Miles Sanders of the Carolina Panthers. Miles Sanders is somebody that I was big on to kick off the year. I've cooled down a little bit, but I still see the opportunity there. Look, the Panthers paid him a bunch of money. He is going to be the most versatile running back that they have in terms of rushing, in terms of pass catching as well. They're going to get their money's worth from Miles Sanders. He's proven that he can get it done. He has ties to this coaching staff, and he's one of the more experienced players on this offense. So I think Bryce Young will look to him. The main thing here is going to be the offensive line. Been a little bit underwhelming in the preseason, but it was a very good unit last year. That's what we're hoping for here. That's why we faded him a little bit, but we still think the upside is there. We think he can be the Josh Jacobs of 2023, somebody that was being drafted like in the 5th round, but then ends up being a top 10 running back. Next up, we've got a few quarterbacks here, 14 and 15, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. I'm just going to mention them together. I think that both these guys being drafted around the 6th round, 7th round are absolute steals compared to the dummies that are taking Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and or Josh Allen in the 2nd round. There's just so much better value at other positions. And then the fall off ain't that big at the quarterback position when you go from that tier to the tiers of Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence on exceptional offenses with extreme talent, with Herbert, Eckler, Keenan, Mike Williams, Quinn Johnston, great offensive line, Trevor Lawrence. You've got the addition of Ridley, Kirk, Travis Etienne is there, Evan Ingram is there. Great, great groups. Why would you pay up premium draft capital for Mahomes when you can get somebody that's not that much worse 4 rounds later? That's why we love both of these quarterbacks. At number 16, we've got James Cook of the Buffalo Bills, another late round running back flyer that we think is going to see a lot of opportunity, potential breakout upside. Yes, the Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen. He's going to vulture away opportunities from whoever the running back might be in terms of touchdowns, rushing yards, but there's no more Devin Singletary here. And I think that the Bills have shown that they're going to utilize James Cook from what we've seen in the preseason, what we've heard in training camp, and getting him again, like in the 7th round, something like that, is a really, really good opportunity. At number 17, we have got Elijah Moore of the Cleveland Browns, somebody that the Browns specifically traded for, opposite Amari Cooper. We think that the value is absolutely there. Elijah Moore has proven that he can get it done before. He's a young wide receiver. Deshaun Watson, again, with another offseason behind him. Amari Cooper really had a good year last year. Opposite Amari Cooper, I think Elijah Moore can be a great tandem wide receiver with Cooper. Both guys can potentially get over 1,000 yards. He's going to close to double-digit rounds. That's an absolute steal here. His ADP is going up a little bit, but still an absolutely great value. And if Amari Cooper misses any time, again, a steal. At number 18, we have got Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings, rookie wide receiver that we are all in on, our favorite rookie wide receiver. Look, the Vikings have shown that they're going to give rookies opportunities. It happened with Justin Jefferson. It's going to happen with Jordan Addison. He has high draft capital tied to his name. On top of that, no more Adam Thielen. Addison is the number 2 wide receiver here. Sure, TJ Hawkinson is there, but a lot of those targets that he saw, I think, are going to be redistributed. And on top of that, if, God forbid, anything happens to Justin Jefferson, Addison is the number 1 wide receiver for this team. a lot of value here. At number 19, we've got Sam LaPorta of the Detroit Lions, our second tight end. And again, this has to do with the opportunities that will be there for pass catchers on the Detroit offense. Yes, a lot of it is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown, but it can't just be Amon-Ra. And without TJ Hockenson, the Detroit Lions invested a high draft capital pick in LaPorta, second round selection. He's going to see a lot of opportunities right away. He's being drafted outside the top 15 tight ends. And if we had to pick one of those guys, outside the top 10, outside of the top 15, that can finish as a top 10 guy, LaPorta is definitely on that short list. We honestly think it's going to be Amon-Ra, LaPorta, and Jahmyr Gibbs that are the main pass catchers on this squad, especially for the first 6 weeks before Jameson Williams comes back. If you want to trade LaPorta at some point during that span, it would make a lot of sense as well. But LaPorta, especially at his draft capital, an absolute steal. And then finally, Aaron Rodgers at number 20 of the New York Jets. We think he's going to have a bounce-back season. This offense is much better set up than what the Green Bay Packers had last year. Garrett Wilson, a true number one. Allen Lazard was added. You've got Breece Hall. You've got Dalvin Cook, a decent offensive line, a good defense as well. Aaron Rodgers will bounce back. He's still got something left in the tank, and I think he can be one of the comeback players of the year. I think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers of old. And if we're looking at guys outside the top 10 quarterbacks in fantasy this year that can absolutely smash their ADP, Aaron Rodgers is at the top of that list. But with that, we wrap up our top 20 must-own player breakdown for this 2023 fantasy football season. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Did you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We'll do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.